So this is Sicily's feather and string and stick toy. I don't really know what the official name is for these, but she likes playing with this one a lot, and Falcor seems to be showing an interest in it. There he is. And I don't think he realizes that Sicily is actually up there in the cat tree. But anyway, I don't know if she's really going to come today to play with it, but I want to show you what I normally do with it. So she really likes this toy. Generally, I don't leave it unattended with her because she really loves chewing on the feathers, and she'll probably just like rip it to shreds if you leave it unattended. It's gotten a bit battered over the years, but this has by far been the longest lasting toy on a string on a stick toy that she's had. But anyway, generally I do a few different things with it. Like sometimes I just kind of flop it around like it's, I don't know, a fish out of water or something, some kind of animal, and she'll kind of play with it then. A lot of times I'll try to make it kind of trace a path on the ground, or I'll like kind of swoosh it back and forth, or make it jump in the air in different spots, kind of maybe jumping, like if she was maybe right there where the cat bed is, like kind of making it jump back and forth past her and across the room. She likes jumping for it when it's in the air. Also, I don't know if this will show very well on the video, but sometimes I used to like just kind of make it go in circles in the air, either horizontally or like vertically sort of above her, with it kind of angling down low enough for a cat to jump for it somewhere. And she'll just kind of sit and follow it with her head and eventually jump for it. So yeah, I think this toy she really likes jumping after, and then she'll attack it, and I'll leave it for a few seconds for her to chew on it and play with it a little bit, and then, you know, once she starts seeming a little less interested, then I'll kind of start pulling it out of her grasp. Sometimes she'll like grab onto it and hold onto it if you're trying to pull it away. So that's kind of part of the game too. But yeah, this one, she tends to jump for this toy, and she tends to run for the laser pointer. When she was a kitten, she used to like jump up the wall at the laser pointer. Now, like sometimes if you get her really riled up, she'll do it, but most of the time she'll just wait for it to go back on the floor and go in some path that she can chase it in. So yeah, I guess if you want like her to jump, then you play with this toy, and then run, you play with the laser pointer. Also, sometimes like I'll kind of vary up what I'm doing with it, depending on how she's responding to it, and then as I'm kind of ready to start winding the game down, then like I mentioned before, I start to wind her down with it by like maybe making it flop in place a little bit more weakly, flop a little less often, maybe leave it for a few seconds and then flop it. Kind of basically make it seem like the prey is dying, so that she feels like she's conquered it, and you know, we're not leaving her stranded in the middle of the game. I read, I think in my cat book, which is actually that book right there, that's good for cats, that it's good to wind them down when they're in a play session, or else they'll still be wound up, and then, you know, they'll be looking for something else to play with. And then, oh yeah, and speaking of play sessions, so by the way, this was the laser pointer. I think I showed it to you earlier, but I don't know if I actually like in person showed it in the video. But this is her laser pointer that she plays with. There's another one, maybe two. I think only one other one. I think they've kind of died over the years, but there's another one. It's blue in her box. And I have a ton of refill batteries for them in here. It was like a pack of 100 or something like that when I bought it, because buying the refill batteries from the pet store was just getting really expensive, and you can buy a whole bunch of them from Amazon for not that much. So you've got endless supply of batteries for those. And then the last other thing in this video that I was going to mention was, so regarding this book, I got this book when she was about 1 year old, and I had never owned a cat before, didn't really know anything about cats, and in general I was kind of starting to observe that some of my, I guess, owner habits might not have been the best for her. Like, I don't know, I thought she wanted to be left alone, so I was leaving her alone, and then she was acting up and I couldn't figure out why, and then I found out from the vet that she actually does, want attention more than most cats do. And so her acting up was because I was ignoring her and she was bored. So anyway, a friend at work recommended this book to me, and I read, I think, pretty much the entire thing except for like maybe the part about old cats, because she wasn't old, she was like a kitten at the time. But anyway, this book is incredibly helpful. It's got all sorts of stuff in it, not just like behavior problem stuff, but it's got stuff like about introducing cats to dogs and introducing cats to other cats. It's got tips if your cat shreds your toilet paper, which sometimes when Cicely gets especially bored, she will do, unfortunately. So tips for, how to prevent them from doing that, that have worked really well. And tips on, I'm trying to think, tips on playtime, tips on introducing them to a new environment, tips on traveling with them, tips on taking them to the vet, just all sorts of stuff in it. It's really useful. Sometimes it repeats itself a little bit, and sometimes she writes in like a kind of cheesy manner, and that can be a little bit annoying. But like I said, it's really useful, and you can just skim over those areas if you've already read the same type of content before, or you think something doesn't look that useful. But oh, and it also has information in it about clicker training. So I briefly tried to do this when she was younger, and then I wasn't very good about being consistent with it, so I never really got far with it. But I did buy a clicker that you can use for training, and apparently cats are able to be clicker trained. And I was kind of in the initial stages of clicking to signal that food was coming, and I hadn't really gotten past that, but there's a clicker in case you feel like trying to clicker train her. And I think they give other tips for training cats in here as well. So yeah, this is a really useful book. I definitely recommend reading it whenever you have time, if you want to. It had a lot of useful stuff that I couldn't find on the internet initially. So yeah, that's it.